Just a week ago, we witnessed one of the most dominant displays in sim racing as Gergo Baldi took 3 victories, 4-3 on home soil. We travelled a relatively short distance between circuits 180 kilometres from Hungary into Slovakia to a circuit which for the last decade has provided thrilling racing at a circuit widely underrated. The Automotodrome Slovakia Ring plays host to round 2 of the Esports WTCR Championship here on RaceRoom. Those familiar with the series over the last few years will recognise that I am not James Kirk, who was unable to make this evening. So for this, my name is Lewis McGlade. Alongside me, as always, in the Esports WTCR Championship, Robert Wiesenmüller.
Hello, Lewis. Hello, everyone. Yes, indeed. Slovakia Ring, second race of the season. We know that in the Esports WTCR. It's kind of a classic second track of the season, and I think it's one of the best.
It does provide some absolute thrillers of racing, no matter what we race around here, and it's been one that maybe some people sort of think, oh, I'm not too sure. The circuit isn't really a circuit that I've normally raced at, but boy, oh boy, does it provide some great racing. And with the grid that we have today, Rob, we are going to see some absolute thrillers. That race last time out from Gergo Baldi, 3 victories from 3. Is he going to move that form here into Slovakia Ring?
Yeah, we can take a look at the point standings. Gergo Baldi on top there, 75 points. Already a 22-point lead over his teammate David Notch, who's not in the same car, who's picked the Audi this time, and Ben Spunky on his home race here, sitting in 3rd in the standings, but maybe he can catch up because he was fastest in the pre-qualifying.
Yeah, big names up towards the top end. P4 in the championship. Moritz Lerner not here today. There is no drop score in the Esports WTCR Championship, and not taking part this evening. That will very much dim his chances of winning the season. It'd be a pretty hard task from this point. Just 5 rounds across the championship, and with Gergo Baldi's imperious form at the moment, it's going to be a bit of a tall order for anyone to mount that challenge. Although David Notch on very good form, and we know Ben Spanky coming into this, always very, very fast in the pre-qualifiers, did manage to top the pre-qualifier, something we've seen him do an awful lot in his sim racing career.
Yeah, and maybe if you haven't watched the first round, let's take a look back at the 5 best scenes at the Hungaroring, and then you can get a clearer picture of what you can expect today. It's so difficult to pass on the Hungaroring.
It's got to be turn 11, doesn't it? It's got to be turn 11 or 12.
Yes, but you can defend, of course, on the inside. If he was closer, he could try here. I think he will.
Oh my goodness me, has he found a bit of space? No, he has not. But the man who is supreme at the moment is Gergo Baldi. He leads the pack onto lead 2 with Banky, Lerner, Noj, Wisniewski and Pinces, your top 6. Lerner's going to try and retake P2 though. He's going to battle all the way down to turn 2. But again, that Lincoln Co, we've seen it have some pretty decent gearing, as you mentioned in qualifying too, Rob. And it's the same story as lap number 1. Yes, he gets good purchase around the outside of turn 2, but he can't hold a candle once we reach turn 3. Now last of the runners with Antonov's retirement, and as was the case in race 1, Rob, Gergo Baldi's lead has dissipated over the course of the lap. Absolute madness down here outside the top 15. Norman Leitner looking in his rearview mirrors, wondering whether to be excited or scared at the prospect behind him. Look at all of these guys. It's the rest of the field battling for supremacy, but the man... 10.
Yeah, good start for the Audis. We're actually missing one of the Audis as well. Should be Supernek who's missing, and Wisniewski with the dive!
What a move from Nikodem Wisniewski, so late on the brakes, caught Gergo Baldi napping, and you can see there's a little bit of overlap, but that is move done and dusted. Nikodem Wisniewski punchy. It's no longer a question of if he will join this battle, it's a question of he has joined this battle. Now, how much can he get out of it? Noj launching an attack up ahead on Gergo Baldi. He briefly takes the lead. Has he gotten the better exit? Potentially, yes, but is it a good enough exit to fend him off through turn number 2? David Noj around the outside of the reigning online champion, Gergo Baldi. He's going to take it. P1 for David Noj as Baldi takes to the asphalt.
Into the chicane, no way through. Wisniewski closing up in the rearview mirror. Oh, mistake from Notch. This could work for Baldi.
Inside, but it's so difficult to overtake in this sector with good reason. He takes to the curbing, he just about stays within track limits. Gergo Baldi muscles his way back through turn 10. He's back in the lead by turn 11. And Moritz Lerner in that Alpha now no longer lurking, an active participant in this battle for the podium.
Well, what moments it was. Just a week ago, a fantastic display there for the #1 spot between Baldi and Noj. Whether we'll see racing like that today, we'll have to wait and see. Focusing on today and the entry list that we have. Oh boy, have we got some surprises in here. Let's take a look. Focus your attention right hand side all the way down to the bottom. P25, P26, Esteban Guerrieri and Nestor Girolami joining us here in the Esports WTCR Championship. And you may think, oh, some real drivers, maybe they're not going to be quite as quick. Well, we both know this, Rob, that both of them are very, very handy in sim racing terms. Esteban Guerrieri is very fast when it comes to the sim racing world.
Yeah, Esteban Guerrieri won a race in the Beat the WTCR drivers season last time against Gergo Baldi, against David Notch, against everyone on this grid pretty much. Just flat out won a race, and maybe he can do it again today. Who knows, he's in stellar form in the WTCR Championship, second in the standings at the moment. Nestor Girolami also won a race already, but he had a little setback here at the Slovakia Ring in the real race when he had a massive accident with Jean-Carl Vernet. When he went into the barriers. Let's hope he has a little bit more luck today.
Indeed, took his third victory in WTCR at this venue though last year, so it has still some decent form here. Whether that translates into sim racing, you never know. I think, you know, as the worlds get closer and closer between sim racing and real world, that things are applied from both sides of everything really. It's kind of all applied, all applicable. Esteban Guerrieri, 9th in the session at the moment, looking pretty strong. You were saying to me prior to the round that he was looking like he was definitely inside the top 10. Kind of the pace, respectfully to him, it's kind of what we're expecting from him in sim racing when he turns up these days.
Yeah, I would be most surprised if he's not in the top 10, to be honest. But it's great to have him back. Of course, he can't do all of the races this season because some rounds are clashing with the FIA WTCR races. But it's good to have him on an off week. He raced last weekend. He will race next weekend as well. So 1 week break and he's in the sim racing. Nice to see.
With a minute and a half left to go in practice, we'll head into a qualifying session. The first of 3 qualifying sessions ahead of us today, ahead of 3 races, same as it was last round. So they're short, they're 5-minute qualifying sessions. They're the kind of qualifying sessions that a driver like David Noj absolutely loves. It's just you, the track, a very limited time. Once the timer's done, the session's done, and then straight into the race. Some drivers can't really find form in such a short period of time. When you're doing 3 of them over a night, you need all 3 of them to go well, but I'd almost be entering thinking one of them is probably not going to go so well because it's so hard to do that every single time of asking.
Yes, it's certainly a different scenario compared to the pre-qualifying where you've got unlimited laps. And the fastest driver in pre-qualifying, the guy who has a home race here, that was Ben Spunky, not on the screen at the moment because he's already in the pit lane. But there you can see him now with the picture. Driver from Slovakia. He's got a Hungarian nationality as well though. And he swapped from Honda to Lincoln Co for this season. Surprising move for many drivers.
Considering how strong the Hondas have been, and maybe less so the Lincoln Co's. Obviously, a previous series champion, Ben Spanky. It is an interesting move. 22 victories from Honda across all championships inside the Esports WTCR and even slightly before it. A very strong mark in the championship. It's an interesting choice, a bold choice. Maybe, just maybe the right choice.
Yeah, we will see how it pays off. 3rd in the standings right now, so not in a bad position at all, as we head to the first qualifying session.
And who's going to be taking the first victory this afternoon / evening? It's getting there. It's only 6 o'clock though. Times have all moved backwards and such, so we're all kind of a little thrown off. We'll see who can muster the best lap to open a session. Let's take a look then around the circuit with Esteban Guerrieri out of the final corner. Just 14 turns here, long stretches between them, great for slipstreaming and overtaking, a couple of dive bomb attempts throughout. Don't you worry. Into turn 1, a very, very fast, ever tightening right-hander. There's a lot of runoff on the exit, kind of flat as to the profile. There's a little bit of camber dipping down on the right-hand side. Can run very, very far out, up and over the crest, and on the other side of it is an extremely fast right-hander. We'll see some side-by-side through here. We always do. Every time we go racing around here, someone's desperate to throw one down the inside and just try and keep it pinned to the apex. Up and over another crest, and then down into turn 3, a very tricky hairpin, sort of an extended hairpin, a very fast one. Watch him wrestle the car in there. Oh, he's overdone it though, big time. Escapes from it. Didn't fancy that lap, and I kind of don't blame him. Missing that apex at T3, easily done.
See with Ben Spunky as he's about to cross the line already, I think. Or he also restarted.
Yeah, he's definitely restarted on that.
So lots of drivers with problems here. Of course, it's a single qualifying session, so that means you don't see the other cars on track. Let's find someone who's actually on a lap. Not so easy to do so. I think Guerrieri has got some problems.
Baldi's also restarted his lap as well, the championship leader. It's a tricky circuit, and a lot of people, they know that the session is extremely short, only being 5 minutes. Only really got enough time. If you were to do both flying laps back to back, you could probably just about fit in 2. So if you kind of mess up on that first one, you might as well bail out of it and just like try again. I guess it's a bit of a risky strategy, because then you limit yourself to definitely only having 1 lap. Nikodem Wisniewski on the run down to the final complex of corners. This is on a time, although he's bailed out of his as well. Rob, wow, this is pretty, it's getting pretty tight for some of these drivers.
I'm not sure what's happening here. Lots of drivers having problems to set a lap time on the first attempt. We were absolutely expecting to get the first times in here. Maybe Fiducci can be the first one to set a time. Oh, Sokovikov is the first one, actually.
A 9.0, not a fast time, but nevertheless a time on the board. And how important that could be when it comes to the checkered flag in just 2 minutes and 15 seconds time. Gianmarco Fiducci, we know that he's been pretty fast in sim racing in RaceRoom in 2020. Decent escapades elsewhere. See what he can do towards the line. Oh, there was a decent time improved, a 2:08.318 from David Naj. That is actually a pretty decent time toward the benchmark we were expecting. A 4.90 for Gianmarco Fiducci. Just 6th place is all he can muster in all of that. How fitting it is, though, Rob, to see David Naj at the top end in a session like this. He loves these 5-minute sessions. Just you, the circuit, and the limit that you can find.
Yeah, Notch immediately went back to the pit, so he's not setting another lap. And we still have almost half of the field not on a time lap. Rasmus Sahle, one of the debutants in the pits, he won't set a time lap at all. Let's see with Gergo Baldi, our championship leader. And Spunky goes up to 2nd.
I was going to say, is he even on time? Crosses the first sector. Crossing the second sector rather. He's slightly up on his teammate. Deep breath for the final couple of corners. See what he can put together. He really needs to get ahead of his teammate if he wants to dominate the championship further. The way he started the season, he doesn't want to be starting from 17th, the current position he'd be starting the race if he doesn't finish this time. But plenty of time on the clock, and this will be the only time he does in this session. And it is provisional pole position of 2:08.192. That is a fantastic time, and with very, very little time left on the clock, Rob, that's looking pretty strong right now.
As to Girolami, he's gonna get his time in. See where he ends up. Second sector
Haase.
a little bit down. Haase up to 2nd in the Honda. Girolami 15th.
Florian Haase to the front row of the grid. That is an impressive time for him, Esteban Guerrieri. I don't think he's on a time at the moment, and he's certainly not set one prior to this. Julian Kunze into 11th place. Martin Barner into 13th. Esteban Guerrieri not setting a time in the session, and will have to start from 24th.
I think he's got some technical problem there that's preventing him from setting the lap times. He's not happy with that at all. Did Wisniewski get a time in?
He did 17th.
Wow.
All Nikodem Wisniewski can muster is 17th on the grid. The lone Williams Esports driver, much further down than we'd expect. Adam Pinches inside the top 10. His teammate Martin Barner putting a time only 13th for Barner. Kind of maybe would have expected a little bit more, respectively, do you think?
Yeah, but this was a surprising qualifying session all in all. Lots of drivers with problems here setting the lap times. So, yeah, lots of them only had one single attempt, and I think we will see quite a comeback drive from Guerrieri there. Not sure what happened to him. So
I'm not sure if it was a technical issue or whether it was just not being able to put the lap in. just maybe struggled. We saw him on the first stint. He overdid T3, and that cost him time. So he can put one on the board. If he'd have finished that, it would have been a few tenths off anyway. So he probably would have started 20th, 21st in that kind of area and a couple of positions in this. Sure, it makes a fair difference, but does it make the difference come the checkered flag? About ready to go for our first race of the evening then. And who is going to be taking a victory? Our championship leader on pole position, Gergo Baldi, taking 3 victories last time out, looking to start off the evening yet again. 25 minutes on the clock ahead of us. Florian Haase on the front row with him. We are underway here in the Slovakia Ring. The best start from all the top lot, I believe, is actually David Noj, who's going to be pulling up alongside and even past Florian Haase on the run into turn 1. It's a clear launch from Gergo Baldi. It's a Hungarian 1-2 between the 2 Mirror Esports teammates. Behind, we've got the 2 Lincoln Co's of Kirill Antonov and Bent Banki going side by side through turn 1. It is Baldi that leads from Noj, from Haase, from Kirill Antonov, who has indeed jumped Bent Banki. Great launch from the Russian.
Great start indeed, as we can see the car streaming down here through turn 2. Everything quite clean so far.
There was someone in an Audi a bit further back that was going side by side. It's getting very, very dicey to the inside. Banki nowhere near close enough. You got the that's running very, very wide though. I don't know quite who that was, but running very wide. It was Tim Yarshall. I did wonder if it was. We know he can be quite aggressive now, side by side with Haase, who's dropping backwards. He's got Kirill Antonov to muster away, but it's not going to work. Antonov with the inside. It does chop and change. Antonov gains a position, and up onto the podium goes Kirill Antonov in the very early phases of the race.
Just checking here with Esteban Guerrieri, already made up a few positions up to P22. Driver from Argentina. Oh, as it gets a little bit tight here into the corner that we titled the dive bomb corner. Guerrieri P22 at the moment.
It doesn't get its namesake from nothing. Oh, speaking of, here we go. Antonov being dived himself from Haase to the inside, back onto the podium. Did wonder if it was going to hang on for too long. It did not. Kirill Antonov deposed back down to 4th place with now a lot of pressure from Banki behind, who's desperate to make the most of the situation. Baldi leading clear from his teammate. I wonder if we'll see some side-by-side action, same as we did back in the Hungaroring. First lap about ready to be completed. There's only one corner separates them and the start-finish line. You can see there in the foreground, just propping through shot, David Noj is right on the back of Gergo Baldi. Nestor Girolami a little bit further down the order. Ottaviani behind him. Balashin directly ahead. Nikodem Wisniewski's only made up a single place over the first lap, Rob. It's not going well for the Williams Esports driver.
No, it's not going well indeed, especially when you have these two at the front of the field. Championship leader and 2nd place in the championship, the biggest rivals. Oh, and Antonov in the background going alongside Haase again.
I wonder if there was any contact. There's definitely side by side. Back, he might be able to pounce here. He's got the outside for T2. It's going to be a bit of a hard slog to go around the outside, but he has got the slipstream there from Florian Haase. Backs out of it, going to dive back into line and protect his position from Pinches behind. Tim Yarshall from his dropping down the order into T3. He's not made any progress from 10th place. Trying to cover it off though. Kirill Antonov does so. Here comes Pinches around the outside of turn 3. I think there was a slight bit of contact there between Banki and between Antonov, the 2 Lincoln Co's, just brushing up alongside each other. A bit of flashing there from Bent Banki. Not impressed with what the young Russian is putting out at the moment.
Some tough racing there, tough defending especially. Leandro Verle once again with a stunning performance here.
Yeah, getting ahead of Zoltan Siuti there. Saw Siuti going side by side a little bit further down in lap 1. Here we are into dive bomb corner. Nothing quite happening between this lot. You can see Leandro Vela there on the right-hand side doing some pretty intense racing. Is that Lucas Vela alongside him as well?
Yeah, he's racing in server 2 at the moment. And Attila Dina here fighting against Esteban Guerrieri, fighting against the WTCR Pro.
Yeah, 9 times WTCR race winner. Esteban Guerrieri, like you said, 2nd in the championship. Attila Dina, though, we've seen before when it comes to his sim racing. He isn't scared of anyone. The young German, definitely one for a potential strong future in sim racing, and not seeming flustered by the multiple race winner behind him.
Yeah, I think Guerrieri is really out of position here. He could go a lot faster than the guys ahead of him, but it's hard to find his way through, especially when he's too late under braking. That might open the door for Ponto.
He's not quite there on the Alpha. Quentin Punto not able to get by 22nd place. You're right. I think Guerrieri is well out of position here in the first race. We focus our attention to the top of the order. It is Baldi still leading from Noj. An awful lot of pressure between them. Pulled out a second from Florian Haase thus far into the race, who's still under an awful lot of pressure from Kirill Antonov, Banki, Pinches, Vela, Fiducci, Schuti, and Julian Kunze, who's got himself inside the top 10 for Alfa Romeo.
What a surprise here. Alfa, not the best car on this track, lacking some straight line speed. Oh,
oh, that's a big one. That is a big one for Norbert Leitner, spinning and spinning out of T2. That is a monster crash. I think he just picked up a little bit too much grass. I don't think he was assisted into it. I think he was just losing it by himself. It is very easy to do. If you just brush the grass a little bit, it's enough to unsettle the rear and just send you round.
What a shame for Norbert. He was lucky to get into the race. Moved up last minute as David Todd reported an absence for the event. He was only qualified for server 2. But now, yeah, seems like no points anyway for the Hungarian. And Julian Kunze just lost the position to his teammate Tim Yarshel. Teammate, as they're both in Euronics Gaming, but of course they're in different cars. The Romeo Ferraris, Alfa Romeo for Julian Kunze, and the Cupra for Tim Yarshel.
Yeah, there is no teams championship in the Esports WTCR championship, as here we're going to see a bit of 3 wide here, but you do work with teammates, diving it straight down the inside. That'll be Banki. There'll be contact there. Banki goes from 5th to 3rd, and Pinches is sort of getting in the mix as well, as Kirill Antonov's been deposed from 3rd all the way down to potentially 6th place, depending on what Pinches can do. Florian Haase very much a part of it in the middle, just sort of losing and gaining as things happen. That's a big gain, though, from Banki. The top 2 now 2 seconds clear of this field. Look at this battle as very much a part of it as well. Leandro Vera, there's some contact that's opened the door for Kirill Antonov to get by Adam Pinches. There's going to be a brush all the way around the final part of T13 through T14 and back onto the start-finish straight. Who's going to be getting the slipstream from that top lot? I think the advantage does go the way of Kirill Antonov, who has got back ahead of Adam Pinches. Very feisty here, Rob.
Let's see if the Mira boys are working together. I don't think not just attacking here. And that's a perfect scenario for them. Let's see, Banki now in a good position. I don't think Hasse will be so aggressive against him. But still, it's already over 2 seconds of a gap here. Not sure if he can close that.
It is all pressure on the shoulders of this man to try and close a gap to 2 of the fastest people in RaceRoom competition. It's going to be very, very challenging. If there is someone that can do it, it is him diving to the inside. There is contact there between Haase, between Antonov. Antonov just overcooks T3. Haase's back through. It might not quite open the door for Pinches. That was very, very aggressive, and to be fair, that might give the reprieve to Banki that he so desperately needs when it comes to that gap, comes to focusing on the road ahead and not the cars behind. Well, I thought there was going to be contact there between Pinches and Antonov. Just sat right on the back, underneath the rear wing, unsettling him, putting pressure on wherever he possibly can.
Yeah, I think he pushed him very, very slightly there. And here again, the car's backing up. Little bit of bumping, but that's fine. That's a lot cleaner than it was in the first race. Talking about that, we already lost 2 drivers from the championship with the championship ban, with an exclusion from the championship. These are Christian Juhasz and Attila Bucci. First race, especially in the midfield, was a bit dirty. Let's see how it is in the midfield here. Mr. Girolami, P19, lost a few places, now behind Luciano Wittwood on his debut in Esports WTCR.
As is Girolami putting pressure on with Wittwood. Ottaviani is very much close. It's very smoky back here, I think, from the locking up, the low sun as well here at the Slovakia Ring. But at the same time, it seems an awful lot cleaner than it was. Obviously, you know, a lot of drivers did get a little bit of a slap on the wrist, as it were, departing the first round of the season, and in some ways, rightfully so. Is that coming into... Oh, it's disconnection. We'll ignore that. That is a disconnection from Procopio. Unfortunately, for Snow Shatton. They've already lost 1 driver from today. I think he's actually back into this. He's back up at the 15th. They lost Juan Gomez before the race even started. Was unable to get onto the server. One of the 5 South Americans that we've got here racing today. Very much an international championship.
I think Procopio is back. He's back in P16
so.
on our standings. I'm a little bit scared to skip to him.
I'd be scared to
not
racing
just-
with him, Rob.
Not just getting close to Bunky. I think he can go a bit faster. Let's see where Wisniewski is. In P14.
There's some stuff happening in the background there as potential. Oh, it is getting pretty dicey back there. Ottaviano. Procopio is also a part of this. We look at Mark Balashin, who's on the back of Procopio, who is back into the race. Pressure being dealt from Vitford, Ottaviano, and Nesta Girolami. Oh, there was contact there, and Girolami is gone. I don't know quite what happened there, but it was between himself and Attila Dina, and off into the gravel he goes. That is a shame for Nestor Girolami, race winner here in the real world in 2019. Unfortunately, his adventures of 2020 seem to be recurring again at this venue.
Yeah, it doesn't go much better in the virtual version compared to the real version, unfortunately for Nestor. But it promotes Esteban one place up. Oh, it's Rasmus Salos right there, trying to get the position back.
So Rasmus Salo, one of your ex-drivers.
Yeah, he was my teammate for a long time.
Back in the day, a very long time ago. A driver that we're glad to see return to racing action in sim racing here in the Esports WTCR Championship. One
When he
driver
makes
that
a
we're all
big
pretty
mistake.
close with, and there is a mistake. Kind of speaking of the return to it, he's not quite used to putting in laps again and again and again. He's not done it for a fair while, at least to this level. So there are, you kind of expect to see a couple of mistakes out of Salo.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's the same like for the real drivers. When you've taken a break and we've done something different in the meantime, it's not so easy to come back immediately and be at your old pace. But I think it's very respectable that he qualified for the top server.
Oh, very much so. To qualify for this, you've got to put in some mighty lap times. It is not easy to get onto the grid, but it is always worth a go, and you can do so on RaceRoom by heading under the competitions and try and get yourself signed up for the next round. Leandro Vela under pressure there. We looked a little bit further up the order as Gianmarco Paducci was trying to get by Vela. We look at Pinches on the back of Antonov. This battle still raging on. It has closed up again with Banki coming under pressure from Haase. Still not switched positions. Banki's still on that podium run at the moment, but you do get the feeling the top two have absolutely run away. You kind of expect it from the Mirror Esports drivers. When they start working together, they are an immense force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they should work together in this championship because they're fighting each other for the title. First and second in the points, and there's only one champion.
Absolutely. Like we said, there is no teams championship here in the Esports WTCR Championship. It is just you and a driver's title. The team side of things, it's more like these are the drivers that you work with and you can help with on circuit. And we know the Mirror Esports drivers from elsewhere in race positions. We know they work very, very well together. Of course, Norbert Michelis's squad, they do work well together. They do get along. But yeah, you're right. Like in this kind of championship, I guess like what I would do in the scenario as teammates is I would work together to build a big enough gap. 2 to 3 seconds sounds pretty decent, and then we go to battle. So maybe with like the final 10 laps of race, we saw it last time out how these two battled in race one. The number one moment from the top 5 moments of the race. We know they can do it, and we know they're very clean with each other, very respectful with each other, and I kind of feel it is only a matter of time before an attempt comes the way of David Noj.
Yeah, lots of attempts here a bit further back. That's Verle against Fiducci. Verle in the Honda in the Montero car. Fiducci with a cutback, but it's not quite enough.
Yeah, they're just holding firm at the moment. Tim Yarshall and Zoltan Suti becoming very much a part of this after Tim Yarshall's early mistakes to the inside at the moment. Gianmarco Fiducci, the Italian, not quite able to do it. The Audi of Zoltan Suti just muscling his way, trying to hold firm on the outside. You've got the Alfa Romeo as well, trying to become a part of this train into T3. Nothing quite, but look at that sweeping down the inside. That could be a very, very nice move from Tim Yarshall. It is getting pretty dicey here. Nothing comes of it, and everyone returns to the positions they originally were.
Yeah, Yarshall can't make it stick against Suti.
We're approaching dive bomb corner. If there is going to be an opportunity, there would be one. You kind of get the feeling that Suti might be doing it on Fiducci rather than Yarshall or anyone, but we know Yarshall's pretty aggressive. Oh, there was contact there. No door open, though. They are nose to tail, Rob. There is nothing between anyone here.
Yeah, what a close race, what an awesome race here for P10. It was P10 that's 6 points in the championship. 15 game points here. And Suti has to defend against Yarshel. Yarshel is just not the driver that you want in your rearview mirror because you never really know what he's gonna do next. Very aggressive. Oh, going back to Nestor Girolami, I think he just lost the place to Norbert Leitner.
Certainly hasn't had to last on the grid. 25th, all 25 cars still running. With 10 minutes to go left on the clock, it is a bit of a shame, but nevertheless, still all trying to reach that checkered flag. Esteban Guerrieri is moving his way. The order is now in 17th place. So he is moving up at a fair rate. And I believe Zupanek and Barner have both switched positions. The two Hungarians in 12th and 13th. We look at Sokovikov with Corentin Pointeau, the Alpha on the back of him, coming out of the final corner. Sokovikov's one that's shown some pretty good pace, but maybe he's not quite one to challenge for the top 10 just yet. Speaking of which, Gianmarco Fiducci to the inside at the moment of Vela. Oh, it's looking pretty good this time, Rob. It is looking pretty good. We head to T2, up and over the crest. He has the inside through the second corner. A tight turn in there, a bit of contact between the two. And Gianmarco Fiducci on the inside. We can see, as we head into 3, should be advantage the Italian. And P7, is the door open enough for the Audi to come through as well? Zoltan Suti, I think it may well be. He's got to push the door open just a little bit. And Zoltan Suti goes to 8th as well. Good move.
Driving there, and good driving also from Werle to keep the car on the road here. Lots of pressure, but he gave enough room to Zoltan Suti. But they both make it through, and it will still be valuable points for all of these drivers. They want to get into the top 10 of the standings to get a little bit of the prize money. Look at this train.
It is very, very intense.
Oh,
Missing the
mistake.
apex though from Fiducci. Oh, it's opened the door, and Suti doesn't need a second invitation. He's back through. And so Zoltan Suti to 7th. Gianmarco Fiducci kind of lucky not to drop behind Leandro Vela as well. Ooh, the train, very reminiscent of something you'd see in actual WTCR. It is a hard-fought battle, and that defense from Suti has maybe opened the door. Ooh, not quite. There was just enough open there for Leandro Vela to get through on Gianmarco Fiducci, but a bit of contact between the two slowed them both down, allowed Zoltan Suti for Mirror Esports to bridge himself a gap.
And Esteban Guerrieri, he's the next car right behind this train. Little gap in the train, Procopio and Balashin dropping back a bit. But Guerrieri not too far off, but only 8 minutes left in this race.
And you kind of wonder when at the top of the field we're going to see
Goes
a move
wide.
between the two
Oh!
Hungarians. Oh no! Contact between the two. Guerrieri's going to drop a few positions here. That definitely didn't work. Vitfort, Dina back through. Maybe even Rasmus Salo as well. The Finn eyeing up a move around the outside, losing behind the cars coming through the foreground. Going side by side ahead of this, you've got Vitfort and Attila Dina. Could be advantage Vitfort off of T1. Normally the outside line prevails there, but it hasn't done so this time. It's given the inside to Attila Dina. Should be a fairly easy move there. A little cut back to the inside. And
Oh, we have to go to the leader. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but David Notch tried it for the first time around the outside. Didn't work out quite. Back to Wittvold to finish this scene here.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Going to hang on to 17th place, Attila Dina. Like you say, though, the fight at the front is coming alive between the two Mirror Esports drivers. The two Hungarians battled it for home victory. Now 180 kilometers away from that home victory at the Hungaroring. We're looking at Slovakia Ring and seeing if David Noj can fire one back on the championship leader on board with Esteban Guerrieri. On the back of Vitfort into dive bomb corner. No opportunity here. Definitely not quite close enough. Very late on the brakes, though. There is contact between the two. Very late on the brakes, Rob. That's almost reminiscent of your braking ability.
Yeah, I gave him a little bump, but nothing bad happened. Let's check further at the front now. Because David Notch is still very close to Gergo Baldi. And Ben Spunky has gained a little bit, but probably not enough to close the gap.
Where's that opportunity going to come? Inside the slipstream of the Hyundai ahead. An Audi of David Noj. Oh, the pressure's very much coming. Just 5 and a bit minutes left on the clock. It'll be 3 laps to go when we cross the line. 3 laps, 3 attempts into each corner. where is it going to come for David Nagy? And he knows that once he fires one through, that teammate, the championship leader, the 3-time race winner in 2020's WTCR Esports Championship, will fire one back through. He's close enough. He's looking into T1. He's going to commit to it. I don't quite think he's close enough to leave it down the inside. Oh, but he is going to go for it around the outside. Gergo Baldi going to try and hang on the inside line. Ah, there we go. The outside does prevail for Baldi, at least for now. He wasn't able to hold it to the inside. Rob was Noj. Oh, the battle for the podium, though. Florian Haas trying to get it. He's on the inside of Bent Banky. And this time, I think Florian Haas is going to be back onto the podium. Whether this works out for Banky when it comes to the cars behind is the important question. He's going to be very committed on the brakes into T3. Oh, and I think he's going to be able to hang on. What an attempt there from Bent Banky. That is mad skills on the brakes.
Beautiful driving from Bent Banky. Holds the place against Florian Hasse, and Antonov in the background. He got up the inside of Adam Pinches. Back into P5. It's getting close at the front.
Just a tenth separating them, and you can visually see that on track. They've still got 2 seconds to the car behind, so they're not worried about that. I get the feeling that if it comes under a certain window, they may stop applying pressure to each other. But like we said, they've only got 2 and a bit laps to go from this point, and Naj is not waiting around to look for his first victory of the season here in the Esports WTCR Championship. He's desperate for it. Mirror Esports, having won the first 3 rounds, the first 3 races in the hands of Gergo Baldi, they'd still be getting their 4th victory, no matter which way round these 2 finish. But you know, David Nodge is looking for that Drivers' Championship. He's desperate for it. He's had such a good year, Rob, has David Nodge. Has been impressive. Very much a move to the front of RaceRoom competition.
Yes, but I think this is, this battle is about a little bit more than just a race win. I think it's also about who's the #1 driver in the Mirror Esports team. David Nodge won the Cupra Sim Racing Series this year, but on the Esports WTCR, which is a very big championship, of course, supported by the FIA WTCR, Gergo Baldi always has been the #1 in Mirror, and with 3 wins already, I think Nodge kind of has to get a win here to show, he could be the #1 in Mirror Esports as well.
He's certainly fast enough to put one on Baldi. We've seen that a few times before, and I'm very much on your side in that sense that he needs to put one on Gergo Baldi. The outside line going to focus its way for Banky and able to hang it around at the moment, but there's pressure being applied to the inside. The other Lincoln Co might have just got there of Kirill Antonov on Florian Haas. So we ride on board with David Nodge looking at race leader Gergo Baldi. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. To the inside, he's going to defend into 3. David Nodge is committed on the brakes to the outside. He might just overdo it here. He certainly is not able to make anything stick there, not losing time, and will gain momentum off of turn 3 as well through this sort of S's section. Oh, I think he might have been just about trying to push alongside. He might be to the inside here. Oh, you don't want to hit off your teammate though, and being aggressive. He's diving it. He's diving it. There is contact between the 2. The door is not open enough, and Gergo Baldi prevails for now.
Driving from Baldi. But you can see David Nodge, he wants to get the position, he wants to get the win. This is not teamwork, this is fighting for the win. Penultimate lap right now. Hasse with a strange line in the background. It's not paying off. Got one last opportunity to go back to Esteban Guerrieri, who just makes up a position here.
He gets back to 17th place, getting by Tiladina, by Luciano Wittfurt. Holding off Rasmus Salo, so to 17th he goes. He's got Procopio, who's still kind of struggling with connection issues ahead. And Esteban Guerrieri, there was some contact there between Tiladina into the back of Esteban Guerrieri. And that might have nearly opened the door for Rasmus Salo to get by Wittfurt as well. Tough battles up and down the order. Oh, speaking of which, nearly to the inside, David Nodge was going to go into the penultimate corner. Penultimate lap of the race about to come to an end. On to the final. Who's going to be victorious here? The first race at the Slovakia Ring. We've got this battle intense back here. Florian Haas has lost out down to 6th place as Bent Banky holds one hand on a potential podium here with Antonov behind. Here we go. Last attempt into T1 to the inside. The Audi of David Nodge. I think he might just be able to do this here. He's committed to the inside. He's absolutely thrown it in. The Hyundai on the outside of 3-time race winner Gergo Baldi this season. He's got the momentum. I don't think it's going to last though. Into turn 2. Oh, it doesn't indeed. Gergo Baldi hands on again.
Driving from Gergo Baldi, but it's not over yet. In the background, Antonov up to P4. In the meantime, Hasselhoff back. Surprise move here! Oh, I think Baldi has run wide.
It was a changing of line there from Gergo Baldi that just opened the door there for David Noj. I don't think Noj really intended on firing one down the inside there, but he certainly did so and made the most of the opportunity. The next one's a right-hander and should swing the way of David Noj. It's going to be tightening up here. Heavy on the brakes though, Gergo Baldi. Oh, he's trying to throw it all the way around the outside. They're two still side by side as they were just a week ago. The first race of the season at the Hungaroring saw these two heading side by side. They remain side by side. Gergo Baldi to the inside of dive bomb corner. Respect between the two of them. Intensity between the two of them. David Noj is the outside for yet another corner. It's not really going to work out there as the next one very much tightens up. The left-hander at turn 10. David Noj back to the inside, heavy on the brakes. It might just be open enough for him. Is it going to be the race victory? Oh, it's just swung the way of Noj. That is a sensational move. Another brilliant display between the two of them. Just a couple of corners to go. Just a couple of attempts for Gergo Baldi to fire one back through. I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. Noj defending heavily to the inside of 13. Hold your breath. Is Gergo Baldi, he is throwing it around the outside. He doesn't give a damn. He's absolutely committed to the line. They will be running very, very tight all the way around the outside of 13, the penultimate corner, to the inside of 14. Oh, we're going to have a run to the line. It is so close. It should be heading the way of David Noj. We can't really see from this angle. It certainly is. And David Noj puts an end to the dominance that Gergo Baldi has put on. 25 points to Noj. It's a Mirror Esports 1-2 again. What a display, Rob.
What a fantastic race here. Congratulations to David Noj, who takes the victory against Gergo Baldi, and they certainly knew how to make it really exciting here. Oh man, they were side by side for over half of the lap.
God, how many times do we need to see these two go side by side? So good. Such respect between the two of them, showing it in sim racing how it should be done. Look at the gap, though, that they had between themselves, Banki and Antonov. It was 2.5 seconds, nearly 3 seconds at one point in that race. It came down to under a second between the top four, under a 10th of a second between the two Hungarians at the front. And Rob, that's got to be pushing it for closest margin of victory in the WTCR Esports Championship. It's so close.
Crazy race indeed. Guerrieri P17 in the end. I think that's okay considering his promise in qualifying. Let's hope it goes better in the next qualifying session.
And Girolami did not finish last on the grid. It was 25th place that went the way of Norbert Leitner, unfortunately, at the end of the race. What a fantastic display, though. Again, we'll have to do it all over again, mind, when we come to another 5-minute qualifying session, another 25-minute race. We get to see if it will all be done in the same way again. I think a little bit of disappointment heads the way of Florian Haase, front row of the grid to only 6th place. I think he maybe would have wanted a podium, expected at least a top 5 from starting on the front row of the grid, so not ideal from him. Another Hungarian 1-2 though. Bence Banki losing points, continuing to lose points on Gergo Baldi rather. It may not have been too many, it would have only been 4 in that one. It would have been 20 points for Baldi and only 16 for Banki. Baldi though is incredibly strong at this circuit. You can see there he's on the list of recent winners here, having won earlier in the year against the WTCR drivers. They all kind of did this time. Unfortunately, Esteban Guerrieri only 17th in that. But coming into another 5-minute qualifying session, gets to hit the reset button, does the Argentinian driver, as does Nestor Girolami, as does everyone on the grid. And we see another attempt to see who can get on pole position. And those kind of mistakes from the first qualifying session, you sort of put an end to, and able to take a bit of a deep breath, Rob.
Yeah, but hopefully it will go trouble-free this time in the next qualifying. Never really know that. Either way, I think we should have the championship standings now updated after this race. So let's take a look.
who's wearing the championship. Of course, it is still going to be Gergo Baldi leading, but his points gap at the top of the championship coming down by 5 points that time. It was 22. It comes down to 17 as David Noj takes his first victory of the season. Still 20 points, very, very healthy for Gergo Baldi. But we did say that David Noj needs to take a victory in that race. He needed to basically affirm himself that he is of the same pace, he is of the same level as Gergo Baldi. And having done that gives him the momentum.
Just to answer a few questions from the chat. Yes, same points in the second race, but also in the third race. We have 3 races today. Always same points, 25 points for a victory. I will show it in the qualifying session. Then also, can the drivers share the setup? Well, they don't have to. Everyone's driving on the default setup in this championship. And can they swap the cars between the races? No, they can't, but we've got a BOP, a track-specific BOP. That means that everyone has roughly equal chances in the races.
Indeed. It does sort of allow things to, you can sort of sit in a car that you like and you like for its handling characteristics and just sort of see it come together track to track. They are locked in to the cars they choose. And it does provide some interesting winners across the season, Rob.
Does indeed. I mean, this season we just had 2 winners though. Practice session is over. We're waiting for it to go into the qualifying. I think it's Juan Manuel Gomez who's loading into the game now, who's causing a bit of a delay here. The game is waiting for him to join.
Hopefully we'll get him on the grid because we know how fast he is, and we know that having a full 26 car grid here would be very, very nice. Joining difficulties earlier you're joining from the other side of the planet. There are going to be sometimes the odd bit of difficulty, and considering that we've seen, so we've got Argentinian drivers, we've got people from Brazil, like a lot of South Americans, we've had people from Asia and like all battling with each other on the server, and it's all the future of sim racing is international, is global, and to have them all racing together on the same circuit without really much sort of like obvious notion that they are from the other side of the planet, it's very, very impressive. Still championship leader already hits the reset button. Wasn't happy with how he departed the final corner.
I think it could be a problem that the timer didn't start running. So this might maybe the...
I wonder if that's what happened with Guerrieri.
Could have been what happened to Guerrieri. Timer was running on our broadcast here, so can't quite see 100%.
See where his eyes are looking. It's towards the right-hand side of the screen where the timer is. I think he's pretty satisfied now.
Yeah, now our timer's not running, but that's okay as long as it's working for him. Good for us as well.
Oh, that's way too wide. There we go. There's the reset. He was too wide at T1. That lap would have been invalidated. So already the opening minute and 10 seconds of the session wasted for the championship leader, Rob. That's not ideal. We focus our attention on Guerrieri. See if he can get a time onto the board this time. We've not got a timer ticking, but hopefully he still does.
I think Girolami has gone fastest in the first sector.
He certainly has on my screen. I'll give him that. See what Girolami can do when it comes. We're looking for a low 8, a low 2-minute and 8-second lap. Oh, that's too wide there for Guerrieri. That is too wide there. You see there at the bottom of your screen, your points scoring system. Unlike in other championships we've run, there is only points for the race. You don't get points for qualifying, you don't get points for pre-qualifying or anything else. It is just what you do on race day, Rob.
Yes, indeed. But we've got 3 races, so we've got plenty of chances in the qualifying for each race. So even the bad qualifying from the first race, it doesn't affect Guerrieri so much in the end.
No.
We still don't see the timer for him. That's a bit worrying.
First times will be coming in momentarily.
And he's resetting again.
Button. Who's going to be setting what time? We look at Bent Banky, one of the earlier runners to complete a lap. Purple, of course he is, because no one's set a time just yet, so don't panic. Anyone sat at home, one final corner to go, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. This will be realistically the only time he's going to get on the board in this session, so he needs to make it count. Setting the first time of the session at 2:08.8 for Nestor Girolami. You can see how much faster Banki is going than that to the line. He is going to cross and should be up to provisional pole position. Most certainly is a 2:08.230 ahead of David Noj now, who moves up to second position on a 3:13. Zoltan Siuti, Adam Pinches and Kirill Antonov, your provisional top 5.
Herschel up to second now, still no Gergo Baldi anywhere inside there, but of course he had to abandon his lap as well. Berle up to P5, strong quali once again, Florian Hasse. I don't think this will be a front row this time.
No, it's not looking quite as strong as before. Again, the only lap time that he's going to get in the session is effectively a super pole in that sense. To the line, he's a couple of tenths off, should be somewhere inside the top 5. It is indeed 5th place that the Eurolix Gaming driver is going to go. Well, I'm sure he'll be okay with that. Gergo Baldi gets to second place, so he's onto the front row with his only time. These ones are all being locked in. Kirill Antonov, I believe, is on a time. We look further down the order. Esteban Guerrieri still not setting a time, Rob.
I'm not sure what's going on there with him. It seems like he will start from the back once again.
Curious issues, though. One thing to note, over the 2 minute and 8 second, that's 128 seconds, and just 7 tenths, nearly 8 tenths, separate the 21 drivers that have set a time. As soon as I say that, it comes 22 as Julian Kunze sets a time and goes to 11th place, and Gianmarco Fiducci heads himself up to 6th place, just 2 thousandths off of getting inside the top 5. Nestor Girolami setting a fair time in the first sector. He's not going to have time to complete this lap though. We'll at least get an indication as to his speed come at the race. Juan Manuel Gomez has qualified inside the top 20 at 17th place. 17th though, Rob, and 0.370 off of pole. I'd be fuming if that was the gap that I saw.
Yeah, crazy close times, and it won't be a qualifying time again for Esteban Guerrieri. Not sure what's going on there. Banki on pole though, so breaks the mirror dominance.
Yeah, finally, the mirror dominance broken at the top, and David Noj, after a race win, has to start from the back of the second row. Not really ideal in his sense, but still yet another 25-minute race ahead of us to complete race 5 of the season. Race 6 coming up after this same format, 5-minute qualifying into a 25-minute race. And if this race is as thrilling as it was the previous one, I think we're going to see some quality racing. Whether we're going to see the 2 Mirror Esports drivers leading away is going to be a very different story. I did notice one thing on the start. Keep an eye on the drivers on the left-hand side of your screen, because they didn't really get a good launch in the previous race. They were kind of struggling. Who is on the outside in this? It is Gergo Baldi. It is David Noj. On the outside, on that left-hand side of your screen, the drivers that we're focusing on, the advantage seems to swing the way of those on the right-hand side of your screen, on the racing line and the cleaner line. Well, it's going to be a bit of a tall order. I think Gergo Baldi might be dropping back to 3rd place, especially with Tim Yarshall's aggression. I think Banki might be under an awful lot of pressure in the early stages of the race. Race 2 then at Slovakia Ring is underway, and that is exactly what has happened. It is a great launch from position 3. Tim Yarshall trying to grab 2nd place on the run into turn 1. He's going to have the momentum around the outside, and he's got the speed, he's got the position, and he's got 2nd place. Gergo Baldi was trying to fly 1-3. Oh, there's contact behind as David Noj received a bit of a bump there from Florian Hasse. That wasn't ideal in his sense. They're all still pointing the right way, though. And everything seems okay, at least for now. Deep breaths as we run through T2. The immense speed. Look at how fast they come through. All filing through. Some single, some double file. There's some side-by-side between Pinches and Leandro Berle behind. We look at Florian Hasse, who's got pressure from his end. Oh, straight down the inside. That's going to be straight on for Zoltan Siuti, and maybe pressure from Fiducci to try and find his way through. Julian Kunze in the Alfa Romeo up inside the top 10 in the middle of this huge battle pack further behind. Adam Pinches holding on to 8th place and starting the train that sees Kunze, Antonov, Zupanek, Berle as Fiducci and Siuti switch positions and switch back again. Norbert Leitner down in 14th place, battling it out with fellow Hungarian Balashin. It's going better at least for Leitner. He finished 25th rather in the last race. as we've already lost a driver. It is Nestor Gira. No, who? I don't know who we've lost. We've lost someone though.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. But either way, Tim Yarshall up to
Procopio.
second. Oh yeah, it is Procopio. That makes sense. He's got some connection issues there. We saw it in the first race.
Indeed it is, leading though as we head through to the final sector. Tim Yarshall's putting a lot of pressure on our race leader. Ben Spanky a couple of tenths clearance, only a second. Look at this battle pack as dust and dirt is being kicked up from the inside of T12. Esteban Guerrieri, Juan Manuel Gomez, Nestor Girolami all battling it out. The Argentinians going into the final corner. They are very feisty down this end of the field. I think it's going to be advantage Girolami in all of that, and well, there's going to be no rest as to who wants to be ahead in the battle of the Argentinians. The battle of the South Americans, though, sees Vela up in 15th place. A bit of work needs to be done if they're going to catch him during the course of this race. Banky leading it into turn one, looking for a victory for Lincoln Co. We said it was a bit of a gamble to move across to it from Honda. So far, though, we've got 5 different cars inside the top 5.
Yeah, just Julian Kunze missing with the Alpha, but he's not too far behind.
Yeah, we've got all of them inside the top 10. Very colourful, and showing that the balance was done very, very well here in the Esports WTCR Championship. Certain cars have certain advantages that allow them to be somewhat better at certain circuits. We did say that the Audi around here is potentially the favoured car.
Yes, we expected that, but when we look at Nikodem Wisniewski especially, we can't really confirm that theory yet.
No, because we know that Nikodem Wisniewski is incredibly fast, a multiple race winner, down in what is now 16th place, the lowest of all of the Audi drivers. As much as there may well be a favoured car, and like every millimetre, every sort of millisecond makes a difference, especially in a championship as close as this is to the inside of the Audi. That was Florian Haase nearly diving it through on David Noj. Every little bit makes a difference. Yeah, I'd want the slightly favoured car, but it's how it works out over a championship, not just a round-to-round basis. Here is Nikodem Wisniewski. 15th place, gets by Martin Barner, the AAA esports driver, adjusting his camera. Wow, he's looking at his camera as well. Focus on the road ahead, bud.
Bit of clean air here, but you can see already in the background all the Argentine drivers in the Munich Hondas. Not too far behind him.
I think that as well was Ottaviani and Rasmus Sale behind this, going side by side, 17th and 18th position between the Hyundai and the Cupra. Battling it out for honours a little bit further down the order than they would have wanted. I don't think it's too out of position for them. I'd say some of the drivers behind are slightly out of position. Esteban Guerrieri, definitely one of them to the inside. Ottaviani, that's going straight on. Surely, no, it's not. Pulls it up. Lovely. Brilliant move there for 17th place. That was lovely from Ottaviani. And here comes Guerrieri through as well. He's on the back of them, heading up to T2, making contact there on the back of the fin of Rasmus Sale. See on the right hand side what he's seeing. Esteban Guerrieri now grabs the inside. He's going to have to be very, very heavy on the brakes. I don't think he's going to be heavy enough. Rasmus Sale is a pretty aggressive driver himself, but diving it to the inside, a little bit of brush of contact from the inside of 3. Guerrieri does gain the position, Rob.
Yeah, and Salo left a gap there. Can't do that against Guerrieri up to P18.
It's lovely. Very committed on the brakes. Very, very committed from Guerrieri.
Seems like he's the fastest from the black Hondas. Already gapping Girolami and Gomez, who's struggling here.
He may well be the second
Dive
fastest
from
Honda.
corner.
That's a big dive as well. Straight up the inside of Ottaviani. I don't even think there was contact between the two of them there, Rob.
Yeah, but that was, that was really a WTCR move. I think Ottaviani will give it back here. He's got the inside. Wittvold going off.
Oh, that's a big off as well, and into the barrier on the inside. There is a barrier that protects them, I believe. Certainly is so it doesn't fire back across the circuit. We focus on Guerrieri as they're all pushing each other around. You've got Guerrieri, you've got Girolami, who's also through now on Ottaviani, who's dropped back into the clutches of Rasmus Salo and Attila Dina. This battle is not giving up. Ramon Gomez and Corentin Pointeau also very much a part of this. The train heading into the penultimate corner of the race as Girolami is to the inside of his teammate. Doesn't get through though, and Guerrieri holds firm. 17th place, now sets his sights on Nikodem Wisniewski, and maybe inside the top 15, maybe towards a points-paying finish for Guerrieri after his qualifying issues. That would be well fought for. Oh, big dive to the inside there for Gergo Baldi. Speaking of WTCR moves, that was heavily committed to the inside of Tim Yarshall. You don't get more aggressive than Tim Yarshall when it comes to RaceRoom competition, and Gergo Baldi very much dishing it out himself. He backs out though before we hit T2, and the keeper hands on in second.
A surprise move from Gergo Baldi, but Yarshall countered it immediately. I think Yarshall is in a good position here. I'm not sure if his car is fast enough. Cupra, the heaviest car on the circuit. But from the driving here to counter such a move from the championship leader, already shows he's in the right spot with his mind.
But we all know that with a quarter of the race done, there's still a lot of questions to be asked, and these drivers, they're well versed when it comes to racing with each other. You know, there was contact there. That's Haas overdoing it into the back of David Nodge. But these drivers, they've all raced with each other for the most part for the last 2.5, 3 years. Most of these, they know each other's tricks, and that's where things get very interesting.
Yarshall started his Esports WTCR career in 2018. Bunky, Baldi and Notch, they were all already in the very first race in 2017, Esports WTCC at Monza. I think Yarshall's got a good run here.
He certainly does. He doesn't need too much of a whiff to go and go for an attempt. Sidse is quite an aggressive driver, the Euronics Gaming. Peddler, not quite close enough into 13. But you get the feeling if he's gonna run a little bit wide, try and hook it back, carry the speed out of 13 through 14 in the slipstream of the Lincoln Co ahead. Maybe attempt something into 1. We know that inside line, if you go for it, you have to be very, very committed to it. You have to draw very much fully alongside and try and carry the momentum out of 1. He has got the slipstream, he has got the momentum. I don't think he's going for it here. He certainly wasn't. You saw him trying to line up on the left-hand side. He was just basically leaving it wide open for Banky. He'll only go for something at this early stage if effectively he has no other option.
Yeah, he's waiting a little bit. Just trying to pick the right moment. I think that's smart. Could try into the next corner if Bunky doesn't defend. Seems like Bunky's going over to the right side. And seems like Bunky has a bit more top speed.
It does seem that way. The thing is that Yarshall has to be careful of is that Baldi behind might try something on the inside of him. David Nodge's teammate, the two that went side by side for race victory a few minutes ago. We're going side by side there for the podium. Nodge not quite able to do it. I get the feeling though that had Gergo Baldi not made that mistake and sort of like moving back across in the braking zone into T3, if he'd have just sort of held the inside and hooked it up all the way around there, that the opportunity for David Nodge to take that victory wouldn't have shown itself. And so whether that same kind of thing, Gergo Baldi's not the driver that would make the same mistake twice. Certainly not in the same evening.
Yeah, but this time he has to do the work. He wants to get the win now. It's just for P3 between Baldi and Notch. And I think now it really doesn't make sense if they fight too hard. They have to stay with Yarshall and Bunky. Because it's definitely possible that they can still win the race. But right now it seems like Yarshall and especially Bunky are a bit faster.
Indeed. It's all about playing the long game. Even in touring cars, everyone sort of thinks that touring cars is just attack. And it's not really. If you want to win, for the most part, if you're sat in, say, for example, like 4th or 5th place, if you want to win, you've got to be thinking about where you need to be positioned in the next 10 minutes. It can't just be attack. Because like you say, the more that if these two were to start racing, we don't expect Baldi and Nodge to race too hard at this early stage. But if they were to battle, they end up losing a second here, a second there, and then that gap, that potential for race victory. Look at the last race and how easily they pulled away from everyone. Once they all stopped battling, that gap sort of stabilised. It only started coming down when they battled. It's all about measuring the competition and who's fast, and basically thinking, okay, I might be faster than the car ahead, but at the same time, they're fast enough to keep up or catch the next car that then might open an opportunity for me. It's all a waiting game. And that happens up and down the order. It's not just for race victory.
Baldi goes wide.
Oh, he's opened the door
Haase
there as
could
well.
get both.
Speaking of open the door, yeah, Haas has gone through at the moment on David Noj. He's trying to go through in a similar move to what Noj did on Gergo Baldi. The momentum, the speed at the moment is for Baldi, but aggressive down the inside, Florian Haase, not there enough. Dive bomb corners next. The top two have already built a gap, nearly a second. They've already built on Baldi in all of that that display. One slight mistake behind this as well. Zoltan Suti, that's another Mirror Esports driver going side by side with David Noj. It's not what Noj wants. Baldi hangs on to third. Look behind the scene which Audi's going to come out on top. I think it will be Noj by the time they hit T10. There's contact. It's Noj on the right-hand side of your screen. Zoltan Suti on the left. And Suti is the one that takes advantage and now is defending to the inside of 10.
Oh, Pinch is going for a move.
God, he fired that one through. There's contact between the two Mirror Esports teammates. It's going to drop them further back off the German of Florian Haase.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, got a lead duo here.
A second clear. Like I say, not playing the long game there. All start tripping up over each other. It's certainly not done for anyone a little bit further down the order. If these two start racing, we know they'll lose time very, very quickly. I think Baldi will probably have the pace to catch this one up as well. But maybe an early scare for some of these drivers. Down the order with Girolami and Guerrieri. Girolami up to 18th place. Has Guerrieri closed the gap? It's closed it a little bit down to the next Honda down the road of Velo Wisniewski as well. So the gap is coming down. He's going to try and get himself inside the points.
Yeah, but now he starts to drive against these drivers who probably have the same pace as him, and then it gets more difficult. I think Barner just dropped back. Side by side there, Martin Barner in a grey Audi with Mark Balashin.
Oh, squeezing as well, Martin Barner there. And Nikodem Wisniewski, another fairly aggressive driver directly behind the pole. Not with his close friend, Kim Brzezinski, at the moment in the championship. Those two have raced together for a very long time. The lone Williams Esports driver in all of this is Moritz Lerner not taking part, and Jack Keithley not also taking part in the championship, the Brit. Lot of pressure being down, even down this end of the field, even down with the lower points paying position. It is curious that Wisniewski only really has the pace. I wondered if race one was sort of a mark, maybe like an oddity. However, looking at how things are in race two, it's not an oddity. It seems to be the form that Wisniewski's brought into this round. He doesn't have the pace here.
Yeah, very surprising.
Because just one race one.
What also always surprises me is how far back the other Hyundai are compared to Gergo Baldi. Okay, Norbert Leitner's in 12th, but he's still behind the Alpha. Looks like Gergo Baldi is pretty much the only one who can really challenge at the front. And Kirill Sokovikov, he didn't really want to drive the Hyundai, to be honest. He wanted to pick a different car, but he was one of the last drivers to get in, so he had to, you know, take what was over, and it was the Hyundai. And that's so surprising. The car that won 3 races in the first round only really seems to work for Gergo Baldi.
Like we've said before, all the cars kind of drive differently, whether it's it's more subtle differences, how it lift off oversteers, how it does this, where the balance is to this corner, but all those things do make a very large difference, especially in a championship like this where everything's fixed. So, they're not able to adjust the setup. You know, it is as it is. The car is as it is. You drive the car as fast as you can, and in that sense, you need to pick a car that you're comfortable in, because that is the setup. You know, that's all that's like separating car to car is the car itself. So you can't kind of fix some of the issues that some of the cars display.
Yeah, a bit wide here.
Yeah, he's...
And that's an interesting thing about the Slovakia Ring. Even if you go a bit wide, normally you don't lose much time. Because you get more speed on the exit.
I was racing not too long ago, and I had that as well. It's incredibly frustrating when you're racing at a circuit, you're seeing someone making a lot of mistakes ahead of you, but they're not losing any time because they're still able to pull it back to the apex and leave the corner at the same kind of speed. Just like, oh my god. Because it's like, yeah, but they're not driving as well. And it's kind of that kind of stuff where it becomes more and more frustrating. Like in this sense, I'm assuming that Banky is probably thinking, considering the mistakes that Tim Yarsha has made so far, they're not big mistakes, they're all little ones, but you're kind of sat there thinking, surely I should be pulling away. Because Banky's driving very well at the moment.
Yeah. And it's also the slipstream, of course.
Absolutely.
But Banky, I think Banky's in a good position, and I think Yarsha has done one of his best strategic races that I've ever seen from him. Because he's been very, very patient here. I think he can still win the race. I think he can still go for an aggressive move that we know from him later on in the race. But he knows he has to wait, because otherwise Baldi's just gonna win again. And with with his teammate, with Florian Hasse, once again, different car, but both from Euronics Gaming. Florian Hasse putting the pressure on Gergo Baldi. It's a good position for Yarsha.
Be Euronics Gaming's 2 cars on the podium, and Yarsha would dearly love Florian Hasse to get ahead, because as much as there's not really pressure behind, because there's 1.3 seconds between the two of them, having your teammate there just alleviates that little bit more pressure. That said, Florian Hasse is coming under pressure himself. Behind Adam Pinches, being passed there by Fiducci.
Yeah, I think he just passed Fiducci and then immediately lost the place again.
Yeah. They're a long way ahead of Kirill Antonov, so this battle that they're doing, if they stop battling, maybe they'd be able to catch David Norge, but it's kind of maybe a little bit of a stretch too far. So the two effectively battling it out over what seems a fairly confirmed 7th place, as long as there aren't many mistakes. It's been a good opening round from Gianmarco Fiducci. Currently inside the top 10 in 7th place, was 8th in the first race. Things looking pretty good for him. Esteban Guerrieri being matched on pace by Girolami. Girolami's pace is very, very, very good. And they are indeed catching Vela ahead. It's not by much, I will add, but they are catching a little bit here, a little bit there.
And Vela's still in a battle with Balashin. Pace-wise, it's not bad, but it's maybe we expected a bit more. Oh, Hasse and Baldi side by side.
This is the inside line from Hasse. It's covered off by Gergo Baldi behind. You've got the 2 Audis going either which way of Florian Hasse. Noj and Zoltan Ciuti. It's Noj to the outside, Ciuti to the inside as we run around. That is the position gained from Noj. So he is ahead of Zoltan Ciuti now. He's under pressure from Gianmarco Fiducci. Fiducci. What did I say before? That maybe 7th is all they can battle for? No, the moment they start getting racy ahead, there goes Fiducci up to 6th place, trying to cut across though. The car was still there, just a slight overlap on the straight line. Maybe a little bit naughty there from Gianmarco Fiducci. Nearly cost him an awful lot in that sense, but does gain 6th place. Zoltan Ciuti moves from 5th down to 8th as Pinches is also able to get through.
Also, how little room that Ciuti leave on the apex for Pinches there.
Absolutely.
It was just enough for Pinches. Just checking on Yarsha quickly, because they're entering the first corner again. Yarsha is still waiting, and I think Yarsha has a little bit less top speed than Banky has at the moment. Right now it's just past Kunze. Kunze with the Alpha. Very good performance from him, but he's a bit of a sitting duck here on this racetrack.
Yeah, the Alpha's not known for its straight line speed. You're a bit of a fan of it though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a nice car to drive. It's got great handling. I think at Zolder we can expect great things from it. And here not so much.
Heavy on the outside, nothing for Yarsha there. Still battling it out for that win, at least for now. But whilst this battle heads on behind, they've built 3 seconds, so they've definitely built enough of a gap for them to start battling. As Gergo Baldi's increased pressure from behind, he's got Florian Hasse, he's got David Noj pulling out again when it comes to the Drivers' Championship with Gergo Baldi. I think there was a slight bit of contact there between Fiducci and Noj directly behind this. As to the outside into dive bomb corner, a bit of an unorthodox attempt, and certainly didn't work out in that sense. We've got behind this is Adam Pinches, Gianmarco Fiducci, so the positions to Pinches to the inside of what will be 10 later on, the tighter corner. You've got Zoltan Ciuti in 8th place, will be onto the inside Fiducci as well, missing the corner though. David Noj, door wide open for Alan Pinches to get involved in all of this, and that he did try doing. And now Fiducci might be able to get by the Hungarian again. It's non-stop, Rob. Absolutely non-stop.
And as soon as you try a move, you always might end up losing your place as well. Pinches here, just gone past Fiducci, will lose the position again against the Italian. Now we will see how much room Pinches will give Suti on the inside. He just gets all of the room. But he can't even get the position.
And now what does Gianmarco Fiducci do? Does he give the slipstream to? It is going to go the way of Pinches, so Zoltan Suti is not able to get through in that scenario. And this is allowing Kirill Antonov, Ben Zupanek, Norbert Leitner, Kunze, all a part of this, down to 12th place. That Alpha becoming a part of it. If any incident happens, that Alpha might be able to do it. Oh, what a dive to the inside of T1 from Pinches. That is a lovely, beautiful cutback though from Gianmarco Fiducci. He's going to be inside now for what will become turn 2. That was a beautiful cutback, a lovely dive though, a great attempt from the Hungarian, and that is going to be position back to Fiducci, 6th place. If anything happens ahead, it'll be a top 5 for Gianmarco Fiducci. Very, very impressive. Defending into 3, the Cooper behind, or the Audi behind of Suti, that's squeezing a gap that's not really there. And Kirill Antonov now trying to bite a piece of this cake, but flying it through on the inside. That's Ben Zupanek who's come through out of nowhere. I think he may have gained a position on Antonov. He tried getting it through on Suti as well. It was nearly 3 wide on the inside, and Zupanek's actually dropped back behind Antonov again, although they're still side by side, and it is going to go the way of the grey Audi. And Ben Zupanek now to 9th place.
An ultimate lap right now, so now it counts. And Spunky's still leading, and Tim Yarschel hasn't made an aggressive move just yet. Once again, we can check on Esteban Guerrieri. He's caught Leandro Werle. He's caught all of them.
And could it be a point for Guerrieri? His pace, in comparison to the leaders, he was 10.8 seconds off of the leaders just a little bit earlier in the race, and he's now about 10.5, 10.7 in that vein. He's very much a part of that level of pace, seeing how much he can display in all of this. Of course, Banki being defensive, Rasmus Salo sat on the back of Ottaviani, sat on the back of Nestor Girolami. When I mean sat on the back of, I mean literally right on the back of. There's nothing between them. Final lap of the race they're coming up to now to see who can get where. Tim Yarschel, a final attempt then into turn 1, his last time through the corner in this race, a potential race victory for Euronics Gaming. He's catching in the slipstream. This could be a great attempt on the Lincoln Co. Bent Banky holding the lead all the way through the race is the outside of Tim Yarschel. He's going to try and pull it back, tightened a line through T1. It's nicely stopped there from Banky. The momentum's going to be covered off, and the Lincoln Co. looks set for a potential victory unless Tim Yarschel can find some way through.
Still plenty of opportunities here for Tim Yarschel on this track. It's not quite like the Hungaroring. Maybe you could try here, but Banky of course knows that Banky defends the inside. He hit the breaking point.
He's given it a go around the outside, but we know that doesn't really work in this sense. But he's got the speed off the corner, the battle further back as Noj is trying to get through on Haase. It is looking like it's going to be advantage in the championship again to the way of Gergo Baldi as Mirror Esports look incredibly strong in the WTCR Esports Championship. Nicely held there from Banky, dealing with all the pressure. Red Bull Racing Esports looks set for a victory. Again, it depends on Euronics Gaming. Into dive bomb corner. It should be a good attempt there from Tim Yarschel. It wasn't, so it was beautifully covered off from Bent Banky. And still the momentum, the drive of the corner heads the way of the Lincoln Co. No opportunities, sniffing. A couple more opportunities, more speed off the corner, although he's run wide. A big mistake from Tim Yarschel, just pushed it that little bit too far off of 9 and into 10. And Tim Yarschel just wasn't able to do anything. Look at this to the inside though, it's David Noj. There's contact there between himself and Florian Haase. Haase's got the correct line though as they head through 11 through 12 as well. And it's looking good for Gergo Baldi. Speaking of looking good, Red Bull Racing Esports' Bent Banky. Just a couple more corners to go for the previous series champion. Looking very, very strong. The 2018 Esports WTCR champion comes out of T13, comes out of T14. A very well-measured drive from the top two, but it was defensive masterclass, and Bence Banki takes win number 1 of the season in the 5th race here in the Esports WTCR Championship, led over the line Tim Yarshall and Gergo Baldi. Baldi will be happy with that race. Yes, Bence Banki is ahead, but he outscores his main rival by a fairly hefty amount of points there, Rob.
Congratulations to Bence Banki. Great result for him here. Deserved victory. Esteban Guerrieri, we just saw up to P15 in the end, so good finish for him as well. We just can hope that he can get a qualifying time. And here's confirmation of the results. Fastest lap goes to Adam Pinches.
Yeah, so Guerrieri inside the top 15, so a point to him. Balashin as well. Martin Barner all battling it out. He did close up to that battle, so whether he beat Nikodem Wisniewski as well, the Esteban Guerrieri, so no points for Nikodem Wisniewski in race 2 here. That is not going to sit well in the Williams Esports camp. But what a well-deserved victory from Banki. What a well-deserved podium from Tim Yarshall and Gergo Baldi. As you said, it was a very, very, very well-measured drive from Tim Yarshall. We're normally seeing him be aggressive, more on the aggressive side of things. To bring that level of patience to the table is something that we know is on the cards for Tim Yarshall, that he has got that potential. He's definitely got the speed to battle for victories and to take victories. We've seen it time and time again. The aggression, though, sometimes becomes his downfall. I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with a well-deserved second place. 9th and 2nd for the Euronics Gaming driver this evening so far. Florian Haase didn't get the podium, but did get 4th place, an improvement on his previous race. Was 6th in race 1 after starting from the front row of the grid, this time 4th. That'll sit pretty nicely for him. Like I said, it'll be 4 points that Gergo Baldi pulls out on David Norris. So across the evening, David Norris will have closed in a single point only when it comes to the championship. And there's still another race, still another 5-minute qualifying session to come up before we hit race 3 of the evening in Slovakia Ring. Race 6, though, of the season. We've seen 3 different winners. Are we going to see a 4th? Are we going to see one of the 3 that we've seen already take victory?
See Yarshall win a race here. We could see Hasse win a race as well.
Realistically, on pace, I think we can see most of the drivers because they're not separated by very much when it comes to it. Could see very much a shock winner this evening. Rob, I'd suggest the 2 winners that we've seen so far this evening, being Noj and Banki, aren't necessarily shock winners, but they're very well deserved in their own way.
Here we've got the updated point standings. Gergo Baldi still in the lead, but Bence Banki has caught up. Let's not count him out in the championship fight. These 3 really gapping the rest of the grid.
40 points clear of Tim Yarshall. That is a massive gap in the early phases of the championship. Just 5 races complete. It does look like a 3-horse race for that title, with Gergo Baldi a good 22 points clear of. He's looking very, very strong. But this is the thing, despite winning the first 3 races of the season, he hasn't exactly run away with it. And I wouldn't say that it's not because he hasn't made the most of it. He's finished first, second, and third. That's very, very impressive. For those of you that follow motorsport elsewhere on bike racing, of all things, I'm sure we've all heard the story now. Of Alvaro Bautista, who won the first, I think it was 12 races of a season, still didn't win the championship. So just because you've opened up in strong form does not mean that you're destined for the title.
That's true indeed, but I mean, would you really bet against Gergo Baldi?
No, but would you really wholeheartedly at the moment bet against Bence Banki and David Noj as well?
That's hard to do as well, but I still think Gergo Baldi. Oh, Kunze also with the problem here, so it seems to be quite a big problem for a lot of drivers. Let's just hope for Esteban Guerrieri that he gets 1 timed lap in. Such a shame to see him always start from the back of the grid. But he's resetting again.
The timer did start counting.
But he's still resetting.
Curious issues as to what is going on. I'm sure there'll be a minor investigation afterwards to see what's happened with some of these drivers. We stare there at Zoltan Siti from Mirror Esports, one of the many drivers they've got here this evening, who was how do I put it nicely? Was not playing the part of teammate in that one with David Norwich, and rightfully so. Race your teammates, absolutely fine. There wasn't anything unjust done between them. It is more odd though, because we've seen CT race for before David Norwich, for Gergo Baldi before.
He's in a bit of an unfortunate position, I think, in Mirror Esports, that he's just the number 3 driver in that team. He's very fast. Oh, and he goes off there in the hairpin. He's very fast, but he's not. Doesn't quite have the same pace as his teammates have, as Notch has, as Baldi has. So he often finds himself in this position where he should help his teammates, but he never really gets any help.
Yeah. Absolutely. The thing is with drivers like Naj and why they're the number one is because like Zoltan CT is perfectly quick enough on occasion to battle with them. The thing is though is he's more of a track sensitive driver, and it's one thing that we've noticed about some drivers, the likes of Gergo Baldi, more recently the likes of David Naj, and we've seen it previously from Alex Dorndon, from Ben Spanky. These aren't track specific drivers. They are fast regardless of the location of the race. They are just fast, and that kind of plays into it in a sense against drivers like Zoltan Ciuti that on occasion are very, very fast, but they're a little too track sensitive. As an 8.6 is set from Attila Dina, immediately deposed from Nikodem Wisniewski, who's not had a good day. An 8.4 is decent, is better than what he's done. Might be good enough for inside the top 10. I think he might need to improve a little bit though. I don't think he's going to have the time to do so. Here comes Ben Spank to the line. What's it going to be for him? It is a 2:08.247, immediately stopped by a 2 flat from David Noj. Incredible time. Looking good through the first sector, not good in the second sector though for Tim Yarshall. This could be not ideal for him. We've got Gergo Baldi on screen as well, losing a bit of time in that middle sector. Could only be the second row for the championship leader, and Tim Yarshall as well.
A bit wide here in the final corner as well. I don't think we will see a time from Guerrieri once again. I didn't see the timer when I swapped to him. Gergo Baldi.
What is he going to do to the line? A 2:08.2 to beat. Florian Haase does a 2:63. Gergo Baldi does a 3:42. Tim Yarshall only did a 4:17, so only 7th place for him. Florian Haase, another impressive qualifying session. Look at this though, coming in from Attila Dina. The first sector's looking brilliant. Got a long way through the second sector though, where we'd expect him to lose maybe a fair amount of time, but things looking very good for the young German. He's already set a time within this session and will... Oh, I don't think he'll have enough time to finish this one off. It's very close. I think he's missing it by maybe a second.
Ah, that's a shame. It's very close indeed. Almost up to P11 meanwhile.
And that time from Nikodem Wisniewski is good enough at the moment for a top 10. Still times coming in though. Plenty of drivers ready to set them. The session coming to a close as Kirill Antonov, only 13th place for him. He'll be definitely disappointed with that, with how the earlier parts of the evening have gone. Vitfert Ottaviani, 17th and now 20th as Bent Zupanek goes to 17th. Leandro Vela, P10, nice time. 2/10 off. Corentin Pointeau last on the grid at the moment. Is this time going to happen? It's not really going to be much of an improvement. He has lost a fair amount of time in that second sector for Attila Dina. Only 2 cars on circuit. This is the only one. Corentin Pointeau has already finished his time, and towards it, I don't think he's going to be able to get there before the checkered flag is flown. David Noj, though, pole position ahead of Ben Spanky. Plenty of positions ahead of Gergo Baldi, who was only 4th, Rob.
Yeah, surprising qualifying once again. And a big task for Gergo Baldi here. Bigger task than we saw, of course, in the first round at Hungaroring. There he started every race on pole position.
Of course, the hilarious fact here is that for Gergo Baldi, that's a terrible qualifying session. Awful, in fact. Only 4th, my goodness. Not ideal. And obviously, joking aside, 4th is still very, very good. The thing is, though, is that, as we've said before, the form this evening is those starting in the odd numbered positions. So, 1, 3, 5. They all seem to have an advantage. They are all on the right-hand side as we look at it. So that's where our pole sitter is going to be starting, David Nodge. Gergo Baldi, who's starting from 4th place, being an even number, is on the left-hand side of the grid, the side that we're looking at. And that side has seemed to start slower all night. So I reckon he might be losing out to the AAA Esports driver of Martin Barner, who's done a very good job to get himself inside the top 5. We are underway then for race 3 here in the Slovakia Ring, and that has happened once again. It seems to be advantage, but squeezing over on Florian Haase. Bence Banki is not letting anyone through there. Baldi does lose the position to Barner, who is up into 4th place. A great start from him. A great start from our race leader, David Nodge, who's leading us through T1 from Banki, Haase, Barner. Big off in the background. Big off in the background. That's Norbert Leitner massively down the escape road at T1. That is not ideal for him. And to last place behind Esteban Guerrieri, not worked out. David Nodge then leading, as we said, from Banki, Haase, Barner, Baldi as well. This is a little bit further down with our championship leader, Adam Pinches and Tim Yarshall, who we're suggesting could be a potential race victor. Look at that in the background as Nikodem Wisniewski was battling it out with Fiducci and with Verla. Just caught on the back end of the shot. Rasmus Salo in 8th place. My goodness me. What a qualifying session he has. Talk about flying under the radar.
And we lost one driver as well in the qualifying. I can't figure out who it is. But we're down one car. Yarshall and Pinches are battling. Yarshall, that's the car further behind, number 96.
Intense battles still. The two Cupra cars battling out 6th and 7th place. This is further down the order, looking at Vitfort. We've got Ottaviani directly ahead, but battling it out with Antonov. Like I said, did not have a good qualifying session. Antonov defends it straight to the inside and heavy on those brakes. Oh, there's contact behind there with the Lincoln Co of Procopio. Battling it out, there was Nestor Girolami a part of that. We've got Quentin Ponto. It is all a massive battle. Speaking of, that's Procopio straight over the inside and into the side of Vitfort. Oh, this is getting very, very messy down the order. And Vitfort for Ballast Racing Team just hanging on to 18th place. Nestor Girolami making contact with the back of Procopio. It's very, very intense here. This is trying to go around the outside. Sokovikov in the Hyundai. Nowhere to go for him. Procopio, though, I think that connection might just be a little bit troublesome for some of the drivers. I'm not too sure whether what happened at T11 was connection based.
And I figured out,
just checking him out a bit.
Figured out who's the driver who's missing. It is Zoltan Suti.
Oh yes, so it is. You're at Esports down to just 3 then. I mean, you can see the Ben Supernex position at the front of the field. It is just 1. 2 rather. So I said just 1. But there is one leading the way, and that is David Nodge around the outside of T2. Bence Banki is wasting no time on trying to take his 2nd victory of the season, his 2nd victory of the evening. Haase, we've spoke before that he's looking for his 1st victory of the season to become the 4th victor in 2020's championship. Big whack on the back there for David Nodge. Haase has had the door opened a little bit and is having his pocket picked there by Martin Barner. A great drive from the AAA Esports. I did say earlier in the night that maybe his first race qualifying was not ideal. Qualified outside of the top 10. Now very much inside of it. Very much inside the battle for a podium position. Looking great for Barner.
Yeah, no one expected Barner to be that far up the order. But last time we raced here in the Beat the WTCR drivers season, he was also on the podium at the Slovakia Ring. Of course, with a little bit of help from the reverse grid, but still, he's good on this track. It's good in the Audi. In the background, Baldi has to defend. And for the first time, Baldi got another Hyundai close to him with Rasmus Salo.
Yeah, Rasmus Salo is he was quick back in the day. Battling back in 2015. Seemingly across the evening has built up as the evening has gone on, as confidence has come his way. At 8th place at the moment is a fantastic drive for him. Nikodem Wisniewski. Oh, the night gets worse. Last, retired, out of the race, and 25th. Focusing back up the order, Gergo Baldi under pressure from Adam Pinches and Tim Yarshall, the 2 aggressors in the Cupras behind. Oh, It's not looking good for Baldi so far in this race. 6/10 off of fellow Hungarian Martin Barner, and a lot of pressure to be dealt. In the foreground, though, big commitment there from Bence Banki at T1. Oh, throwing it all the way around the outside, though, and just about hanging on for now is David Noj in the race lead. Oh, it's under big threat here. The Lincoln Co. just trying to drop back in line. Florian Haase ready to pounce at any opportunity. Big wide through T2 as well. Speaking of ready to pounce on any opportunity, look at that, the Audi in the background. Oh, there's contact there as Florian Haase was trying to come back across between Martin Barner and trying to hang on to that third place. And that 6/10 gap that was built between Barner and Baldi, it has gone. Baldi is very much a part of this train. Once again, the top 10 at the moment. Noj, Banki, Haase, Esteban Guerrieri also out of the race. That is such a terrible shame for him. Haase, Barner, Baldi, the top 5, then Pinches, Yarshall, Rasmus Salo, Gianmarco Fiducci, and Leandro Vela, your top 10 at the moment here. And expect that to chop and change as the race goes on. We can see the eyes of championship leader Gergo Baldi, currently leading the championship on 111 points. His 2 championship rivals currently leading 1 and 2 at the moment, looking to score some decent points against our championship rival, leading at the moment by 22. And to the inside, it may be looking a little bit worse than him if Pinches gets through as well.
And Pinches certainly on...
There's so much drama.
Pinches is really aggressive in this race. I've seen that in the first race, or in the second race rather, when he was fighting with Fiducci. He was going for some ambitious overtakes that didn't always pay off. Oh, he's even closer to the front. And Esteban Guerrieri, unfortunately, out of the race. This weekend didn't go according to plan, because he suffered the most from these issues in the qualifying session. Nestor Girolami still left in the race, right behind Procopio.
And still doing decent jobs inside that top 20. Maybe as Guerrieri scored a point in race 2, maybe he's looking to score a point in this one. I believe Bence Zupanek and Pablo Gomez were switching positions at the front, though. Bence Banki is through into the race lead, and certainly is so. That was done at T1, and as we get into T2, it is advantage Banki. Nice work from him, but the cutback's just going to work here for Noj. He's got the momentum. He's on the inside. There is just a car width being given from Bence Banki. He's looking to take yet another victory. But no. Oh, look at that. To the outside. The top 3 going 3 wide out of nowhere. Florian Haase was trying to get involved in the mix. David Noj returns to the race lead. Bence Banki returns to second. And Florian Haase, what a great attempt to try and get around the outside. Credit for ambition. His eyes maybe a little bit bigger than his belly in that sense. Great attempt. Oh, love seeing that.
Somehow he stayed ahead of Martin Barner as well. Yeah. He got forced into the grass. Haase with the move.
Big dive to the inside of Banki. We don't normally see those. Oh, there we go with Baldi as well on the inside of Barner, both trying to repeat the same move. It has worked for Haase. It hasn't worked for Baldi. Up to second place goes Florian Haase. This is aggression we don't normally see out of the German. He's looking for his race victory, and seems fairly desperate to do so. Defending in the background, Gergo Baldi from Adam Pinches, also trying to attack. That's Rasmus Salo with Gianmarco Fiducci around the outside of 10. That's a brilliant move from him. Got the inside for 11 though. And there goes Gianmarco Fiducci up to 8th place.
Yeah, Leandro Vela getting involved now too. Yarshall has passed Pinches actually.
And now he's going to be the aggressor on the back of Gergo Baldi. Kirill Antonov on the inside of Bence Zupanek. You've also got Ottaviani, who's moved his way up the order, looking pretty strong. Actually, so it's on the inside of Pablo Gomez that he is behind Ottaviani. Still battling it out, still side by side in the start-finish straight. And here we are focusing back on the front, and Banki, maybe he'll be a little bit disappointed with how the door was left open. He just wasn't expecting Haase, of all people, to be that aggressive.
Yes, but that's a good thing if you're Florian Haase. You've got a reputation of being a calm driver, always waiting a little bit, and when you do an aggressive move, it's more likely to work because no one is really expecting it.
Absolutely. No point in being predictable when attacking. Predictability is easy to cover. And there was nothing predictable about seeing that kind of move from Florian Haase. Love to see it. And if he's going to win a race here this evening, those are the kind of moves he needs to be pulling off. But he's got to expect the same kind of thing from Bence Banki behind. You know, Banki is a fair aggressor, and David Noj, who's very aware as to what happens when it comes to a race, will be keeping one eye on what's been happening in his mirror and will have seen that move and will be aware that there's a potential to happen. We look backwards into dive bomb corner. You can see Banki, Barna, Baldi, Yarshall and Pinches behind, all in that train. It is a train all the way down to the back end of the order. Speaking of which, further down the order, we've got Ottaviani, we've got Balashin as well, switching positions in the lower end of the points. It's going to be 2 points head of the way of Ottaviani if everything remains the way that it currently is, although, let's be honest, that is not going to happen. And now Balashin's defending from Girolami. He's moving his way into proceedings, getting by Attila Dina. Nice move there. Said that he could be up for a point here in race 2 with the pace that he's moving up the order. Could be a couple of points, Rob.
It could be indeed. A little over halfway of the race distance left to cover here for the drivers, and Attila Dina sitting in P17 ahead of Julian Kunze. I think Kunze also didn't set a lap time in the qualifying session. Bit out of position. He was in the points in both races so far. And Attila Dina actually is on negative points. He's been one of the drivers who's been hit by a penalty, by 2 penalties actually, at the Hungaroring. You have to go back to the front though, so we don't miss anything again. Florian Haase. We're not sure about the top speed of the Honda. It's not quite the same as with the Link & Co.
But as a manufacturer here in the Esports WTCR Championship, Honda looking for a 23rd victory, totaling all of it over the last few years. So we know it's a strong car. We know it's a car that can win. Maybe not so much when it comes to the pace this season. Look at that commitment, though, to the outside and Link & Co. of Bence Banki. Not able to do anything there. Pinches back through on Yarshall. Those two switching positions and the 2 creepers behind their championship leader. And Tim Yarshall, the post back down to 7th place. Gianmarco Verducci is closing in. Looking a great night for Gianmarco Verducci. 8th in the first race, 6th in the second. And currently running in 8th in this one. Looking like an absolutely brilliant night for the Italian. Oh, it's not 8 for much longer though, as down the inside of Tim Yarshall. Wow, just absolutely robbing him there into dive bomb corner, putting a dive on the dive master himself. Gianmarco Verducci heads to 7th place. He'll have to cover off into 10 though, and that is exactly what he's doing. Yarshall to the outside, who had such a patient, such a careful drive last time that allowed him to take 2nd place, is getting his fisticuffs out a little bit here with Gianmarco Verducci. Not able to get through on that occasion. Gianmarco Verducci in 7th place, looking pretty strong.
I think we'll see him here trying to go to the inside, to the final corner, but the Link is so fast on the straight, it's hard for him to do anything about it. Salo looking now.
Riding on board with Rasmus Salo in all of this. You can see that mirror being absolutely filled by Leandro Vela as well. This is the job that the driver has to do, is he's focused on the cars ahead, he's focused on the cars behind. It's intense pressure any which way. Back up to the front of the field. Haase aggressing down to the inside on David Noj. Race winner earlier than night. The momentum of Noj, we know it does work around the outside of T1. Certainly going to hold it for now. They'll have to defend, though, the inside of 2 as here comes Bence Banki. Picking inside, outside, not sure which way is best. Martin Barnes remaining patient at the moment in 4th place. These lot have pulled away to the tune of 0.8 of a second on Gergo Baldi behind. Oh, there we go, defending. That's more of a defensive move there across there to hold Bence Banki behind, who's committed to the outside. That's not really going to work. It might open the door potentially for Barna. Doesn't do so. Florian Haase hangs on to 2nd. They all seem to be going side by side everywhere, but no one's able to complete a move in this scenario. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not quite. Only really seen the Cupras making any moves, and Gergo Baldi is surprisingly slow in this race.
There's no race-to-race ballast when it comes to the Esports WTCR Championships. They're not sticking 60 kilos on his car and being like, right, off you go, lad. Hit the track. It's just this race just isn't coming together at the moment for the Hungarian. It is coming together though for Nestor Girolami, looking for a points paying position, same as his teammate did in the previous race. We've got another retirement from it, and that is Corentin Pointeau, who's down in 23rd and retired from the race. Nestor Girolami didn't really care much for that. He's just set his sights on Balashina ahead, on Ottaviani, maybe even fellow countryman Juan Manuel Gomez. And if he can get a move on that, that'd be very impressive. Get himself a few points, move himself ahead of his teammate in the championship. That'd be nice.
Still a couple of laps to go. 10 minutes on the clock. Tim Yarschel versus Gianmarco Fiduci.
Not able to do anything yet, but we've still got plenty of opportunities. So there's 10 minutes left on that clock. Could have a good few laps ahead of us. Should be about 5 laps left to complete here before we reach that checkered flag. Florian Haase, not through yet. Not really thrown a great attempt. He's thrown some decent ones to David Nosh, but nothing in the same vein that he did on Bent Banky. Nothing to that level of commitment. He's defending, he's trying it this time, but I think that angle is going to show it again. Same as it was last lap, a bit more of a defensive hold to the inside. Banky's not able to make anything of it. Look at the momentum, look at that drive off of the corner from the Lincoln Co of Bent Banky. He's so much better off the corner of T3, and that could work out when it comes to the latter point of the race. If we can get that great drive off of the corner, and maybe something into this section opens up. If you can remain close, do something into dive bomb corner, which is this one just here. He's not close enough. Barner was close enough. And through all of that, it was 0.8 of a second between Barner and Baldi. It is back down to just 2, as Baldi is very much in this train for victory again. A 6-car train between Nosh, Haase, Banky, Barner, Baldi and Pinches, Gianmarco Fiduci, just about a second off the back of it. A bit of a pressure cooker here. As Pinches trying to look down the inside there on our championship leader. At the moment, David Nosh is laughing right now. He's loving this race. Yet another podium for him.
Well, Fiduci with a mistake. He lost a lot of momentum there. Yarschel straight back through into P7.
Rasmus Salo as well, looking to the inside, the Finn. Oh, not able to get through there. He's definitely thinking about it. And Ben Supanek as well. Leandro Vela all in that train. Kirill Antonov a fair way off the back. We seem to have some fair battle packs just coming through that final corner. You just saw that'll be Kirill Antonov leading Juan Manuel Gomez further down the order. Nestor Girolami is closing in on Balashin, for those of you keeping an eye on the real WTCR drivers. The victor here in 2019. Yeah. Here comes Rasmus Salo under pressure and passed by Ben Supanek. And now having Leandro Vela behind him as well. I'd still say for Rasmus Salo, great drive nonetheless. Inside the top 10. Certainly on pace, maybe just sort of being respectfully outcrafted at the moment. Fairly inexperienced the last few years. And here's to the outside, Leandro Vela. That's going to be a hard one to try and pull off ahead of this. Ben Supanek and Gianmarco Fiduci going toe-to-toe.
Looks like Fiduci has brake problems. Maybe overheated the brakes a bit or got a bit of suspension damage. Definitely doesn't have the same pace as he used to have in the race.
No, it is curious. I mean, he's still keeping up with Tim Yarsch. I was just trying to work out. I don't think the balance is quite right. Potential of some issue within the car, but not showing anything yet. He still seems to have pace. He still seems to have decent pace. So don't panic, you Gianmarco Fiduci fans. Gergo Baldi defending to the inside of Pinches. Not really sort of forcing a move on Barner. More just keeping Pinches behind. The top 6 in this train. 3 laps to go. Where does the attempt come from? After the Honda doesn't seem, we've said it before, doesn't really seem too quick in a straight line. So maybe not able to do anything into T1. Nestor Girolami has got by. Who is it who's dropped back? Someone's dropped back. Because he's still behind Balashin.
I think it's Procopio who dropped back.
Maybe. Someone's dropped back now to allow Girolami into the points paying positions.
See if he can stay there, but we have to focus now on the battle for the victory because Florian Hasse has caught up with David Notch once again. Nice little slide into the corner. Can go very early on the throttle, has a much better run. He's almost a bit too close to David Notch, so he will get so much of a slingshot that he catches up with him before this corner. Here you can hear he just had to lift off a tiny bit there to make the corner, which is almost flat. It is flat out when you're on your own. Now Hasse trying to decide which way to go. But he's got Bunky behind him.
They didn't really try and stay in the slipstream there with the Hungarian ahead. And again, for Hasse, we were saying about the good drive that he's having in comparison to David Notch. Just remember that behind Bent Banky, we've noticed it a few times through this race, that he is also getting some great drives off of corners like T3, off of the sort of like the more medium speed corners. He's picking up some great traction there in the Lincoln Co. Just not really giving him the opportunity he so desperately requires. Gomez and Kirill Antonov though, oh sorry, yeah, no, it is Kirill Antonov battling it out. That was into dive bomb corner, and Gomez is through into 12th place. Decent move from him. Maybe not the positions he wanted to be battling in, but the Snow Shattered Esports driver still doing good things. Defending the inside Noj, holding it tight in 10, coming up towards the final sector split, and into it they go. And it is still a lead from David Notch, looking for his second victory of the season, looking to pull a decent points margin over his teammate, his main rival in the championship leader himself, Gergo Baldi, who's in 5th place. Notch, oh, look at that commitment to the inside. You don't normally see anything happening there. That was a great attempt from Florian Hasse. We've seen some great attempts from him. We've seen him try and go outside, all the way around the outside of T3 on 2 cars, so 3 wide there. And we've seen him now try and dive it down the inside. There's been some great moves, some great opportunities. Look at the slipstream. Look at the extra speed that Haas is carrying towards T1. Is he committing now? Yes, he is. He's pulled to the inside. He's decently alongside. We know that they have to be super committed because the outside line does tend to prevail. He's maybe taking too much grass on the inside there, and it is going to go the way of David Notch. Bent Banky. Oh, I think same as it was before with Hasse on Notch, he was maybe a little bit too close to take advantage from that run.
Yeah, I think he mainly went over the grass on the inside, and that really killed his run. Now he has to defend against Bent Banky. And Martin Barner might get the inside out of all of this. Oh, Barner! He's been touched a little bit by Gergo Baldi in the background.
And if that hadn't happened, maybe Barner would have got through on Banky, but that contact allowed everything to stay in line. Because Banky did make a mistake there in 3. Has given breathing room to Hasse. There's going to be some very high heart rates. Another mistake there from Banky. The next couple of corners are left-handers, will go the way of the Red Bull Racing Esports driver. Oh, Barner, big contact though on the back. That's maybe opened the door for him, but it might be a little bit naughty. Doesn't do so. In the dive bomb corner, tried getting it to the inside, but it was well covered from Banky, learning from how he defended the previous race to victory. And just holding firm. Nearly a second these top 2 have built. Haas's trying to force it down the inside. Behind that, we've got Barn trying to force it down the inside of Banky. Baldi behind that, and the more they battle, the more the backlot glows up. Yarshall, Verducci, Zupanek as well, Rasmus Solo, Leandro Vela, the 11 car down to 11th place, all closing in on this battle.
Girolami, meanwhile, last time we can go to him in this race, P15, it seems like he's got it. Unser up to P16 and a big battle behind him. From now on we focus on the battle for the victory. Florian Hasse. One more time on the start-finish straight. He's not quite as close as he was last time compared to David Notch, but maybe it's still close enough.
Maybe it is. There is the slipstream. It's going to take big commitment, big bravery into T1. Is Florian Hasse up to it? He heads to the inside. Another attempt into T1. It's worked every time for David Notch so far. Big commitment. He has drawn alongside. There is contact between the 2 of them. They are going to be side by side up to 2. And with the inside line, Florian Hasse for Euronics Gamers looking pretty decent here. Inside for T2. What does Notch do? Is he going to try and hold firm to the outside? No, he doesn't. Florian Hasse, the final lap of the race, heads to the race lead. What does Notch do to T3? He's got the outside. It is the only commitment that he's got. It's the only advantage that he's got to the outside. The momentum around it. I think this is looking pretty good for Florian Haase. Some very well executed moves. Some perfect timing from the German. Looking pretty good so far, Rob.
Yeah, looking perfect for Florian Haase. What a move. What a move on the final lap, and Notch didn't defend. He thought he has it around the outside, but not this time around. Florian Haase now in the lead of the race, but dive from corner is coming up. Just after this corner here, will Notch go for it? I think he will. Haase defends the inside. Everyone's staying in position.
Beautifully done from Florian Haase. Lovely defence. He's still got a couple more opportunities though, has Noj. We come up to T10. Here is one of them. And then the final corner, the penultimate corner rather. A great opportunity. Haase defending nicely. Noj deep on the brakes. There's a little bit of contact between the twos. Looking good again for Haase, ticking off the corners. Just a couple to go. They head through 10, they head through 11, they head through 12. It's very wide though for Haase. Oh, he just overdid it there. Maybe took too much speed through T11. I think it's just about enough. 13, penultimate corner. Florian Haase, just a few more meters to go before he reaches the final line. Bence Banky trying to get one down on the inside to score some extra points in the championship. Barner's not able to get onto the podium, at least not for now. And where we had 3 races won by one man last time, this time we have 3 races won by 3 different people. Florian Haase becomes the 4th different victor of the season. A great drive from him. Perfect timing, Rob. And Euronics Gaming head to the top.
Congratulations to Florian Haase. What a victory. First victory for Honda in the season, and he did it on the final lap. Great race from him. Nestor Girolami finishing in P14, so he goes ahead of Esteban Guerrieri in the championship standings. Fastest lap to Fiducci on P8, and Gergo Baldi P5 in the end, who lost some points in this round overall.
Yeah, some big points. It was Gomez who dropped back at the end there, well, with a couple of others, allowing points to... because allowing further points rather to Girolami, because Julian Kunze are also inside the points, so there's been an issue that's happened there. And yeah, to be fair, I think Girolami and Guerrieri can both leave that round with their heads held high, as can a number of other drivers, as can Florian Haase, as can David Noj, as can Bence Banky, all now race winners in 2020. Gergo Baldi didn't really have a great race there, only 5th place for him. Nevertheless, not losing too many points when it comes to the championship. It will close up quite comfortably though, and after such a dominant display last time, the championship is absolutely on for everyone. When we head to the next round next week, we head to Motorland Aragon. We've still got a fair time left in the championship. We're not halfway yet. We will reach that when we get to Aragon. Then we head to the Nordschleife. That'll be a fantastic round. And then finishing the season at Circuit Zolder. Rob, though, great drives from some. I'd say, you know, championship level of consistency from Gergo Baldi. And you kind of need that in a season where there is no drop score. You need to be consistent race to race, round to round. Looking good for Gergo Baldi. But like I said, it is back on properly for Noj and Banky.
That's definitely on properly for them. And I'm not quite sure who had a better round from both of them. I think Noj scored 1 point more than Bence Banky actually. But yeah, these two are definitely still in the championship fight.
They've both done well to outscore. I think it's in the region of about 10 to 15 points across the round on Gergo Baldi that they've outscored, which is very, very good for them when it comes to that championship, because they left the first round with such a large gap. Of course, it was 75 points that were picked up by Gergo Baldi, our top 3 in the championship, continuing to pull away. It was good for Florian Haase to get among them, though, and to take that race victory for Euronics Gaming. Let's take a look then at the championship, nicely and updated. Gergo Baldi, 122 points to his name, 13 clear now. It came into it 23 points, so it's 10 points that David Noj has closed down. Bence Banky there in 3rd. Florian Haase moves up to 4th place, just ahead now of Euronics Gaming, his teammate Tim Yarsha. Moritz Lerner, who came into it 4th place, wasn't here this evening. Down in 7th. A terrible round realistically for Nikodem Wisniewski, now outside of the top 10, Rob.
Yeah, shocking round for Wisniewski. Big disappointment for him. But there's always the next round. And the next round is a new circuit for everyone. Motorland Aragon for the very first time on RaceRoom in an official esports race. Won't see Esteban and Nestor next time because they race in the real WTCR race. But that also means next Sunday you can watch 6 races. 3 in the real WTCR and 3 in the virtual.
Yeah, and we hope to see you then. James Kirk should be back on commentary, so don't you panic, sat at home. Will be good to see it next weekend of the 1st of November. We head into a new month, approaching the end of the year very, very quickly and approaching the halfway point of the season indeed. Thank you very much for joining us here at the Slovakia Ring. It's been an incredible round of racing, and I'm sure we're going to see more as the season progresses. Until we come back for round 3 of the Esports WTCR Championship, thank you very much and goodbye.